talk a little bit about the genesis of the project and what was it about this one that said, I want to get behind the camera? You know what I mean?
No, 100%. Where do I look? I guess I'll look like there.
Usually I try to go like this.
Yeah,
so it's
no,
like...
the genesis of the project was that I had been in... Well, that's sort of personal. Well, no, this is the only script which contains things in it that have actually happened to me almost verbatim. I mean, like, you saw the movie, I have a scar from where I was hit with a can of Red Bull right here. And yeah, that scene's just real. The parking lot, that down to the mace is like just something that really happened in real life. And so I thought, I almost never do that in my scripts. I never talk about things that happened to me. And, the movie is about, in a very silly way, about sexuality. It is not a gay movie, it is not a straight movie, it is not trying to make any other statement than the statement it makes via the tone of the movie, which is sexuality is fluid and you should just be okay with who you are because ultimately your identity is about something bigger than who you want to put things in or have put things in you. And I was like, I think I'd like to make a movie about this because what's the last one that was really good? Like In and Out? We got so afraid of offending anyone that we ended up being really offensive or really serious about sexuality. And I wanted to do a movie somewhere in the middle. And I wrote a script that was very Michel Gondry and very surreal. And my manager read it and she was like, she Britain, who is responsible for a lot of important decisions in my career over the last 7 years, says, well, you're gonna direct it, right? And I was like, why? And she was like, because it's all you, it's your tone. I mean, like my scripts have a very specific tonal thing, which is funny because like they move around. But if you watch American Ultra, you watch Me, Him, Her, you watch Chronicle, later you watch Mr. Right and all my other stuff that comes out, even if you watch my YouTube stuff, sometimes none of the characters sound like me, really, except for in Me, Him, Her, one of the characters kind of sounds like me.
I did notice that.
Yeah, except for he's much better looking. Which is that's movies. I'm not Lena Dunham. I can't play myself. She doesn't really play herself, I guess, but like
she puts herself out there. She really does.
Yeah. I accidentally put myself out there once for about 15 seconds on Twitter before I realized I wasn't texting my girlfriend. But HBO didn't give me a deal. No offer. No offer. The subtitle of the picture was Tiny Furniture. Draw your own conclusion. It's a deep cut Lena Dunham joke. I'm going in, man. No. I tweeted, Lena Dunham tweeted she can't drive. And I tweeted, I'll teach you to drive. And she favorited it. Never showed up. No, but Me and Her was a very long road for me because it was me writing like I didn't know how to direct. And then directing it was me learning to direct. And of course, I've directed a lot of stuff in shorts. I've directed a lot of stuff for YouTube. I directed some stuff in college. But to direct a film on that scale was incredible and a learning experience as a writer. And it was so personal to me that I began to realize things like, oh, on your first run, if you didn't go to art school and do this since you were 10, you can't be Michel Gondry. So what I ended up making was a movie that has a very unique tone, specific unto itself, which is almost really weird, but still kind of normal. I don't know, it doesn't feel like an indie movie, really. And it's very unique unto itself, and I'm incredibly proud of it. So
I'm very curious, you put together a very interesting and cool cast. How tough was it to land these people? Do you know them in real life? And then you were like calling them and saying, hey, I'm doing this movie. How did that all come together?
I don't know any of them in real life. I do now. Dustin Milligan is one of my good friends, and I talk to Bracey sometimes, and Emily Mead is my heart, and Angela Serafian is the best texter I've ever experienced. She'll just text you a couple of letters. Just, what does this mean? And then she'll respond, oh, it meant this, but I forgot what I was going to say. You're like, what the fuck? But it's funny because when you cast a movie at this scale with primarily unknowns, I mean, like you're talking about like the Baculas, the Gina Davis.
Well, just all of them, though. But I recognize a lot of the people in key roles.
Well, can I tell you something fucking scary?
Sure.
I'll tell you something fucking scary. The people who mean something, who are of the age of like my age, like between like 25 and 30, there's only like 5 of them who can get a movie made. Like who bring financing with them. There are no more movie stars at my age, other than like there are people a little younger and there are girls. But other than like Miles Teller or Zac Efron, no one is putting, and even for them, no one's handing money on the table like, oh, it's Miles Teller. They're not movie stars in the same way someone like Tom Cruise was when he was my age. That guy doesn't exist right now.
I learned this recently, that I was talking to some indie directors at Sundance and at Toronto, and I've been learning who are the key people for international money.
Oh, but they change. Also, keep in mind, Stephen, I don't care what you learned, and not to be a dick, it just changes randomly.
Right.
It just changes randomly. Someone could be the hottest person in the world, and then just international money, gone. Like, Sandra Bullock is big, still.
Sure.
Keanu Reeves.
Sure.
But I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No. What I was learning, I learned, for example, that Michael C. Hall was really big for international money because of the success of Dexter. Like, he can get a movie made with him in it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I had no idea. And
good for him.
Well, this is what I'm talking about, though. Like, I had no idea the importance of international money in getting, because as you know,
in indie film?
Yeah.
I'm glad you learned.
Yeah,
welcome to the suck.
Right.
It's like Jarhead. I'm just sitting with a sniper rifle waiting to make a movie. Or kill someone. Like one of the two.
But it's interesting you bring up the fact that it really, when I was growing up, and even when you were growing up, it was a completely different world. Movie stars were everything. And nowadays, it's the reason I think why brands and name recognition is all that's getting made through the studio system. It's so hard to get an indie made with just a movie star.
Well, now because you're the movie star. If you can't relate personally to someone, why the fuck go see a movie with them? Being a really good actor will only take you so far. You have to have sort of an ineffable charisma, and that used to be supported by the fact that they were unreachable. They were inaccessible. They were inalienable. The idea that they fucked or lived their lives was crazy because you only saw them in like Mission Impossible, or even you go further back. You saw them in Casablanca. You saw them in Robin Hood. You saw them in, these people used to be safe. And by being safe, they were larger than life. But now, you're the star. Facebook's about you. Do you remember how long it used to take to get someone to look at your vacation photos? You take out an album.
Sure.
And you look at celebrities' vacation photos in magazines. Because, wow, rich and famous. But now everybody's rich and famous with the right Instagram filter, so why bother paying attention to someone unless they're part of something that has a personal connection to you? It's bizarre. And I don't know if it's wrong, but that's why you see the rise of a lot of actors who are like, why is this guy famous? Why is this person? And it's because they're just throwing shit against the wall out there for big movies. They're just trying to find someone. And that's why it's, to me, it's tremendously gratifying to see an actor like Chris Evans, who I liked back in Not Another Teen Movie, is now Captain America.
Sure.
Except for you know what the fucking problem is? It's still depersonalized, right? Who is Chris Evans? Are you going to go see a movie that is just about Chris Evans? I mean, I will, but America might not. He's not a A-list celebrity.
He's been also making the very interesting choices.
You talk about the Snow Train?
Snowpiercer. You didn't like Snowpiercer.
I'm the only one.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm not afraid to say it.
Right.
It's the only movie in the world I think I'm publicly allowed to say I don't like.
It's interesting because I remember you saying, I think on Twitter you might have said you didn't like it, and you are in the minority on that one.
Well, yeah, because I feel like it's a movie that has all the things in it for you to like it, as long as you're not looking at it too hard.
Let's respectfully disagree and go back to your movie.
Okay, which we both like. You saw.
Right. Yes.
I pray you like it.
But here's the thing. I want to know how long was your first cut versus what people are going to see.
Oh, they're completely different. I mean, like, that's what I learned. You want to talk about learning? My first cut was like 2 hours long. This cut's like an hour 20. And the first cut had Lance Henriksen as the devil in it, a mountain lion, numerous totally insane scenes that were removed because I didn't execute them well enough, people didn't get them. And what you end up with, I mean, that's what I fucking, do you remember, you've known me for years now.
I've known you for a little while.
Do you remember way back in the day I used to be like, screenwriters should be famous, screenwriters are important. Like that was like my little pedestal.
Maybe.
Yeah, dude.
Maybe. I'm not going to confirm or deny that information. I'll say yes.
But I used to have more of a pedestal about screenwriters getting more credit for movies. And now having seen how collaborative the process is, I just think what everyone else thinks. I think the second a reviewer talks about the script in a review, I stop listening. Because your script changes so much! I mean, like, even without, I directed this movie. And just on the day, oh, we can't do this, we have to change it to that. Oh, we can't afford to shoot here, we have to change it to that. Oh, we gotta change this guy because this guy's sick, so we do this. Oh, we don't have that. Oh, we can't get this. Oh, and then we get it all, so your script's changed a shitload. And then you're in post. Oh, this scene too long? Oh, this scene too weird? Oh, this gotta change, this gotta move. She couldn't get that line, he couldn't do this move. Okay, we gotta change it to fix it. And then audience screening. We don't like this. Okay, I'll change it. Change it. Now we don't like it, we like it better before. Change it. So what you end up with is more than I've ever seen talked about. And I feel like people say it as platitudes. And I'm not some revolutionary who's going to say something new. But I mean, like, of all the cinephiles I talk about, I never realized, and I can't say this with enough weight, what a mosaic it is. It's such a mosaic. And, you know, as a screenwriter, I got very lucky because Chronicle's just my script. It just, here's the script, Josh. Okay. Fox goes, change this. I go, okay. They go, we made it. I'm like, whoop. You know, that happens never.
Never.
Even, I mean, Mr. Right is pretty much my script too. And American Ultra is like, pretty much my script also. And then Me, Him, Her, though, underwent this incredible transformation because in executing my own writing, it was such, you just discovered what works and what doesn't. It's you can't direct a movie until you've directed a movie, and that's the fucking bummer about it. It's fundamentally changed how I write.
What advice, if you could go back in time to the first day of filming, would you give yourself based upon what you learned through the shoot and maybe even into the editing process? You know what I mean?
Oh, dude, you mean if I could go back and direct the movie again?
Well, sort of.
Dude, I would kill it. That's ridiculous. I think every director I've talked to, I talked about this with Shane Black, and I talked about this with my dad and a couple other people, and like it was always like I had this thought, and I thought I was the first person ever to have it because I'm a millennial, and all of our thoughts are completely original. And I thought, wouldn't it be amazing to be able to just go back and do it again?
That's called Pixar.
Yeah, and but it like I was like, yeah, obviously I would have to say so much. I would have to sit myself down and be like, listen. On this day, this is going to happen. You can't do it that way. Practice this scene more because you're not going to be able. Don't waste time getting all this footage of this because you could actually have used this time here. I mean, I think that's true of every director. It wouldn't change the fact that I saw Me, Him, Her for the first time in a couple months about 2 weeks ago, and I think it's really good. I mean, like, that comes with a tremendous sense of relief to be a little more divorced from it and be like, okay, this is a movie I'd watch, but man, you'd change everything. You'd change everything. I wouldn't change the cast. I ended up, because we weren't going for A-list people, I ended up choosing the people who I thought were best for the roles, and I love them. And I think I love my three leads, and I love Angela, and I think even, like, down to, like, Haley Joel Osment, like...
Yeah, no, as I said, I really am impressed with the cast you put together.
Haley's about to blow up this week because of Entourage. He's the villain of that movie. He's like... They're totally underplaying how big he is in it.
How much was it you picking these people versus casting director pitching you on people? You know what I mean? Like,
all the people, it was a mix. Because like a lot of the people the casting director would pitch just wouldn't give that good of an audition. Then you'd still get pressured to choose this person. And like sometimes it would be because they meant something. Sometimes I don't know if I'm supposed to. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about the way casting works in LA.
I think a lot of people do know the way casting works. Though.
Well, there's a lot of like.
We talked about it already with financing. That's
it's like this. Thing. Well, yeah, but at this level of filmmaking, there's a lot of like this person's hot right now.
Sure.
So their audition almost like doesn't matter. Although like an easy example is like Emily Mead, who plays Gabby. She was the first audition I saw, and it was incredible. And I went, that's the girl. And then a couple other people got close, and like I like some of the people who auditioned, but and I like some of them less. But that was the most extreme writing, directing experience I had. Still, after making the movie, the first time I saw her do that character, I was like, wow, you're really good. That's how I saw it in my head. And
I've spoken to some people that say that within some directors that say like the person walks in the room, within 3 seconds I know if they're right or wrong.
I wish I was that guy. There are some people who you know, and then there are some people who you gotta see a chem read. You gotta see how they match up with other people. You gotta see how they look in the close. Like, I mean, like, I ended up doing a lot of chem reads just because the friendships in the movie are important to me, but like, what's weird about it is that, I mean, like, I'm sure if I was a genius, which I don't know if I am, I don't think I am, I think I'm getting better at everything, but you know, I've heard, and I say, it's so funny, I say I don't think I am, and that's only because I've heard guys in this industry be like, well, when you're a genius, and I go like, how do you say that? You know, and I just think I'm a good screenwriter, but like, I don't have that like instant knowing it. And I've seen people do it. I've seen directors be like, and then you do this and this and it's perfect and there. And I'm that way on my YouTube stuff. Like on my wrestling short, I knew how everything was gonna look. I knew every shot, but for a movie, when you have so many other people, it's a much bigger thing. So like trying to get the perfect actor a minute into the room, I mean, I wish I had. That's like being a, what's it called in Harry Potter, a legilimens, where you like can read someone, oh yes, I see your destiny. You will fit perfectly into my film.
I like how you're playing back on the Harry Potter Saber Kill. How did you...
I miss him.
Right.
I feel guilty.
How did you end up directing the Ariana Grande video?
Ariana's my friend. And we'd been talking about wanting to do something together, and there were a couple of different ideas that went out. And at first we talked about me maybe doing something for Break Free, but then we didn't do that, the song Break Free. And I've known Ari for like 5 years now through Matt Bennett, who's one of my best friends. And it was funny because Ariana was like on Victorious with Matt, and she was like, little Ari is around all the time. And then it was like the next day, The Way comes out. There are posters of her all over LA. She's like A-list celebrity. And Ari hasn't changed at all. She's still sort of just like, I'm famous now. And it was Ariana called me. She was like, I want to do a music video which ends with something coming down and blowing up and I kiss a guy in front of it. And I was like, okay, well, if we're going to do this, I want to do something really crazy. And she was like, yeah, I want it to be one take. Because have you seen my short Jane L.A.?
Yes.
She was a big fan of Jane L.A. And she wanted it to be like that, like found footage.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, sure, like whatever. So I put that together. We had a day to shoot it. We had no money. And it was just one of the most intense, fun experiences of my life. Just we had no extras. We kept recycling people and putting them in cop uniforms. And it was just anarchy.
The video has almost 100 million views.
It does?
Yes.
I haven't watched it since it came out.
So what is it like to have a video that has almost 100 million views? And by the way, that's just on the official YouTube. I'm sure it's been used in other places.
But that's not me, you know? That's Ariana. That's Ariana's...
It's still 100 million people watching your work. It's still a lot.
I hadn't thought about that until right now. That's cool. That's cool. That's really cool. That's really cool and made me really happy. But I don't know. The thing that's crazier to me is like, there's a video of me just telling the story about Superman. That's 45 minutes long, and that has like almost 200,000 views. And the fact, I can't believe it had 100 million views.
Yeah. That, by the way, again, that's just the official one, not the other
all the copies
that people have taken and used on Tumblr or wherever. You know what I mean? It's a lot of people.
Fuck. Well, no, it's impressive. Can I be honest? Like the flat, honest truth?
Sure.
I was a weird kid. I didn't have any friends. I had a lot of ideas. The fact my parents didn't like me telling them the ideas because I was a weird kid in trouble. No one wanted to hear the ideas. I always had all these ideas. The fact that people are listening at all is every day is weird and is bizarre. And like, I think I have sort of a reputation for being kind of an arrogant guy, but that's less about how I actually feel about myself and more just because I'm annoying. But dude, 100 million.
Yeah, it's a lot of people. It really is. Let's jump in.
That's like, did you see Frank?
The movie? Yes.
Yeah. Do you remember when he goes with the big head and he goes, 2, 3, 1, 5 people? Like this and this. God, how good was Frank?
I love that movie's very original, and I love Fassbender's work in it.
So good. And Domhnall Gleeson, come on.
No, I'm not knocking. No, I am never going to knock him.
Domhnall, be in Hell Run, you motherfucker. I'm waiting on that email.
Switching gears completely. You have definitely gone in for a bunch of meetings and met with people, and when you have movies being made, it's sort of like, it's a the roller coaster keeps on going, if you will. You know, maybe that's a bad analogy. But what has it been like for you, like the last 6 months to a year, in terms of, you know, pitching studios?
Quiet.
Really?
Dude, I went through this thing that, like, I was on the cover of Script Magazine, like, The Streak, where I sold, like, a preposterous amount of stuff. And it gave me an education in the business very quickly. Because I found out something that most writers, it takes like 10 years to find out, which is, and that's just because of the rate I was writing and the rate I was pitching. I'd had all these ideas built up. I sort of was cheating, because I was sort of like, I already know this movie, that movie, that. It wasn't like, what's my next script going to be? I had 4. You know, like Chronicle, and then I just wrote 4. I was like, and here's Frankenstein, and here's American Ultra, and here, you know, like I was just like, bing, bong, bing, here's Amnesty. Although, you know what I learned? Stuff doesn't get made. You do all this work on stuff, and they go, we'll make the next Fast and Furious, and I'll go see it. So I'm part of the problem. But like, the last year, really, I have taken to really intensely pursuing and executing movies that I knew I could do. And it's been behind the scenes, but you know, I have 4 things, including Me, Him, Her, coming out in the next year, which is, and I'm sole credit on all of them, you know, which is crazy.
Oh, believe me, I know.
And was a lot of work, and didn't come from like being lucky. I was rewriting 5, 7, at one point I had rewrite notes due in the same month on 7 scripts at one time. And it was bananas, and it was because I was so high on the idea that these were all going to become movies. But there are only 5 of them. And I know it sounds horrible to say there's only 5.
It's still a great number.
It's more, I have to get a tattoo, because my mentor, Forrest Ackerman, told me, Forrest J. Ackerman was the guy who created the term sci-fi, and you know Forrest?
I'm very familiar with the importance of Forrest.
Okay, so I knew him from when I was little. One of the great blessings of being John Landis' son is that he was an acolyte of Forrest, and I became an acolyte of Forrest, and Forrest would give me books to read from his library. So I grew up on Heinlein, I grew up on all the shit the kids in the 50s and 60s grew up on, and even like Sterling and Matheson, and all this shit that I just wouldn't have found otherwise. And Forrest told me, I remember very vividly, he said, 1 good movie is a miracle. And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, movies are so hard to make that, like, if you even get 1 good movie made, it's a miracle. If you get 1 movie made, a successful screenwriter, Shane Blackwood said this to me, casually. I don't know if he'd remember. Do you remember this, Shane, if you're watching? He said, a successful screenwriter gets like 1 movie made, and you're lucky if it's good. And now that I've had 5, I promised myself as a joke that I would get tattoos of all the movies. And so I'm gonna have like...
Have you told your dad, girlfriend, and all the people?
My girlfriend's covered in tattoos.
Yeah, but I'm making sure that they're okay with you doing it.
No, I would describe them as, she's excited about it. She thinks it's gonna be weird. She doesn't think I'll do it. She thinks I'll chicken out. Maybe she's right. But my dad and my mom are of course horrified. You know, if I tell them like, my dad and my mom, for a director from the 1980s, my dad is like, I'll have 1 little cup of vodka, and then I'm like tipsy and saying silly things, and then I'm sleepy. And like, I honestly don't think they've ever smoked weed. So whenever like they'll see a picture of me like somewhere on drugs in the desert, like wearing face paint, they're like, now they're on Facebook, they're like, Max, this is really serious, you know? But I'm sorry, I went totally off. Oh, the last couple of years. So I started focusing way more intensely on movies I knew I could execute and movies I knew I could control. There is a direct correlation between budget, amount of input I've had, and how good I think the movie is. And they're reversed, for the most part. And so I've been trying to work at a smaller scale and do more interesting movies and do more contained movies and get them made in a way where I can make, or I can find someone really talented and have them try to make a movie that isn't a product. Sure. It's its own thing. And that's hard. And people keep asking like, when am I gonna write a Marvel movie? When am I gonna write a DC movie? People ask me that on Twitter because they know I love that stuff, you know? And the truth is, I'm very careful what properties I go to because I'm a sensitive guy. And I know that if you bank into those properties, if you buy in and you're not an A-list player, like, it's not gonna be you writing it. And I don't even know if I could, I'm such a weird figure, I don't even know if I could get those jobs. I never go out on them. Like, they'll like come around, oh, do you wanna do this movie set 4? Do you wanna maybe get involved in this franchise? And I always sort of say, I'm scared. I'm scared to get my feelings hurt.
Well, and also you put yourself out there with Twitter, and
I'm an idiot. Yeah.
Well, no, the thing is that like I actually think social is great, but the problem is reading all the replies.
Oh,
that's the thing, because I think, like, for me, and I don't mean to put myself in this, but, like, some people really come at you, and it's like, well, fuck
People
you.
say horrible shit. People talk about my dad horrible. People talk about horrible tragedies in his life. People just shit on me. And I like when the people say shit like, I hate Max Landis. I hate his annoying voice and his stupid shirt, and because I don't give a fuck about them. But what I don't like is people who are just mean, like not like real mean spirited. Like,
well,
really
there
don't
are
like
people that don't realize that the people they're responding to are actually people.
Yeah, well, they also think I'm too important or I'm famous or something, so I don't check that shit. Like 9 times out of 10, if someone's mean to me and I respond to them like, "Hey, what's your problem?" They go, "Oh, sorry."
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, what did you think you were doing?
Yes, exactly.
Who were you being mean for?
Let's switch gears into something that I'm very excited for, which is American Ultra.
Fuck yeah! Sorry.
Right. So, as long
excuse me, I have an equal fuck yeah for me, him, her. Right. But I directed that movie, so I'm not allowed to be like, and I think it's really good. Well, I think American Ultra is really good, and I think you're gonna like it a lot.
Have you seen a cut of it?
Yes, I've seen several cuts of it.
And what is, as someone who's been very involved, brought it to life.
I'm very involved in that movie. A little bit at the end in post, you lose control of it because you're just the writer, but the director and the producers were very respectful to me.
What was your reaction to the whatever version, the most recent version that people are, I'm sure you're...
There have been a couple of different versions. My reactions to some of them were like, fuck yeah! And my reactions to some of them were like, fuck yeah!
So either way, you've been very happy through the process.
Well, when you see the first cut of a movie, it's not good.
Right, no,
it's almost never good, dude.
No.
But yeah, I'm happy. I am as happy as a screenwriter could be with a movie of that scale.
For people that don't know, how will you... What's it about? For like
American Ultra is about a guy named Mike Howell who lives in a small town. What's his face, Rebecca?
Huh? Oh, I'm just interested.
American Ultra. You didn't ask me what Me, Him, Her is about.
I realize I fucked that up.
Yeah, thank you.
No, I did. Well, I'm going to go back and we'll add that.
Don't worry about it. American Ultra is about a guy named Mike Howell who lives in a small town where he is a ne'er-do-well. He keeps ending up on probation for possession. His girlfriend is his lover, his mother, his maid, his attorney. She basically takes care of him. You've met couples like this, who basically one of them is the mom of the other. And she is very put upon. He wants to propose to her, but he is extremely scared because he's not a stupid guy. And he feels like, if I propose to this girl and she says yes, it'll ruin her life. And if I propose to this girl and she says no, it'll ruin my life. So he doesn't know what to do. He has all these weird anxieties about leaving the town. He feels like he's holding her back. Meanwhile, in the Pentagon, something has gone very, very, very wrong. A woman named Victoria Lassiter has had something wrenched away from her by a bureaucrat named Adrian Yates. Adrian Yates is enacting a protocol that she is unsure of. And what follows is a stream of violence, chaos, panic, and destruction. It is cool. It's a cool motherfucking movie, dude. I don't know what that was. I tried to do Cheech. I don't know what just happened. I had a stroke.
Kristen has a lot of fans.
Fuck yeah, she does, and she's gonna have a lot more new ones.
She's a talented actor who I think maybe some people have overlooked because of the Twilight movies.
She's miscast. Oh, I shouldn't say that.
No comment.
She is though. She's a cool, deep, rangy actor, and in Twilight she doesn't get to do everything she can do, and in American Ultra she gets to do most of the things she can do.
How involved were you in? Did Lionsgate come to you and say this is who we're casting?
Lionsgate wasn't involved until we were making the movie.
Oh yeah, that's right. They bought on.
Yeah,
right.
We were already going and making the movie. And then Lionsgate came around and was like, this seems cool. Thank you, by the way, Lionsgate, because now we have wide distribution, and thank you. But no, it was me and Nima made a list of who we wanted. We talked about it a lot. Then we went after those people one at a time, and we went, we want Jesse Eisenberg. And he went, yeah. And we went, what? And then we went, we want Kristen Stewart. And she went, oh, I'm busy then. And we were like, oh, well, maybe we... And then she came like, yeah, I'll do it. We were like, what? Like, it was very cool. It was cool.
Was she the one, or was it Jesse, or both of them that got the international money?
It was both. And interestingly, Connie Britton helped.
She's very popular.
Yeah.
Very. I'm going to stress that word. So basically, you're really happy, and
I'm happy and I'm stressed out. You feel naked. I can't tell you. I mean, like, if you're an artist, you understand. And screenwriters are only sort of artists. But when Me and Her premieres this Friday, I feel naked. What if people don't like it? Then they don't like it. You know, and I think they will like it, so I'm excited and I'm confident. But every time your movie comes out, dude, every time it's seen by eyes and hands, seen by hands, it's like Stephen King, I Am the Doorway.
right.
But
I was thinking Pan's Labyrinth, but go on.
No, Steve, have you ever read I Am the Doorway with the eyes all? Oh, it's so good. Stephen King is so good.
I heard he's popular.
But no, it's just you feel stripped. You're stripped. You're especially with Me and Her, where it's like my first directing thing, and it's an unknown cast, and it's stuff that really happened to me, and
I didn't ask you, so let's ask now. There is no synopsis online.
that's because it's an incredibly hard movie.
Right, so what is the 1 or 2 line or your log line that you're willing to share?
Me and Her is about about an actor who's just been cast in a very successful, he's on a very successful, like, The Shield type TV show, like a cable drama. And he has realized that he is gay. And he is 25. He's scared because he wants to come out. He feels crazy about knowing he's gay and not saying anything. So he calls his friend from Florida. This is more than one line, I'm sorry. He calls his friend from college who's sort of been living a nothing life and was supposed to move out with him and didn't, and says, will you come out and support me when I come out to my parents? And his friend, who hasn't been doing much and doesn't really like his life, goes, free vacation to LA, and immediately fucks him over in a lot of ways upon arriving, and becomes involved with the other main character of the movie, who arguably any of them could be me in Me, Him, Her. It exchanges, because there's the gay actor who's played by Luke Bracey, Johnny Utah, and then there's Dustin Milligan plays Corey, who's sort of the shitty friend from Florida, and then Corey becomes involved with a girl named Gabby, who's played by Emily Mead, who is a lesbian who has only ever really had one girlfriend, who she had for a very long time, who it turns out has been cheating on her, and they are in the middle of a very fucked up breakup.
I'm going to stress the word fucked up breakup.
Yeah, it is a fucked up breakup, and what's funny is that character, people see it and they love her, hate her, the villain. She is the villain. And she's like a Disney villain. She's based on someone I actually knew, who was actually fucking like it was, she'd say stuff and you'd go, what? But no one would ever say anything because she was so beautiful. And like, I remember so vividly like being in her presence and her saying stuff like, she had someone's dog died, and they told her that, and she immediately it was borderline personality disorder. She immediately made it about herself and was like crying about the dog and needed everyone to comfort her because her friend's dog died.
Yeah.
And in the movie, I give her a sword. So it's a comedy of errors. It's a comedy of manners. It's just sort of an ever accelerating, weird, slightly surreal kind of dramedy about being yourself and trying to be who you are.
Let's touch on real quick Victor Frankenstein and Mr. Right. For people that don't know, what are they about?
Victor Frankenstein is about a circus hunchback with no name who meets a medical student, and they get up to some bad business. I'm very disconnected from that one because it's like a big Studio Fox movie, so I don't know too much about how it's going. I've heard it's good. And I love that script. I'm very proud of that script. And then Mr. Right was my first script that made my managers say, hey, maybe we can actually sell this. And that was 6 years ago. And we took it out to the town, and everyone said, no one wants to see women be a mess. No one thinks, women don't want to see women be a train wreck. They want to see women be glamorous, like Katherine Heigl. And we were like, fuck! And I wrote it with Sam Rockwell in mind. And then Bridesmaids came out. And suddenly everybody wants to see women be a mess. So the main character of Mr. Right, Martha, who is played by, in what is my personal favorite of her performances, and maybe that's douchey because it's my movie, but by Anna Kendrick, who murders it, is a unstable woman in her mid-20s who, after a hard breakup, finds, she does like a real intense rebound thing to this guy who seems like Gene Kelly. He seems like he's like this real poppy. I don't swear. I'm really friendly, and it's Sam Rockwell, who I wrote the script for, is in the movie. That's cool. sorry. But
By the way, that never happens. But go on.
it's crazy.
It never happens.
And 5 years later, anyway, so she ends up bouncing to him, except for he's a hitman. I know, screenwriting 101. He's a hitman who has recently undergone a complete nervous breakdown and gone completely insane. And not like insane badass, like insane. And he, now, because he's still notorious, he's still famous, so people try to hire him. But now if you hire him, he comes and kills you because murder is wrong. So she's found a relationship with him. Tim Roth is hot on his trail. James Ransone is in there. It's a good movie, and it's really weird. It's so fucking weird.
How much has it changed since when you first wrote it to what people are seeing?
A bit. I kept rewriting it, and we didn't sell it, and I kept going back to it, and I'd be like, well, this seems great, but we can't achieve this for the budget that this movie would need. Okay, well, this seems great, but maybe I'll change this. And I just kept going back to it. I went back to it twice a year. I have another script like that that'll probably eventually sell because I think this central idea is good. But I just kept rewriting it, and then finally when we made it, I did production rewrites, and it's my fucking movie. And I'm a producer on it, so I got a big cigar, and I tried to smoke it, and it made me throw up.
When did it sell in relation to, like, what was the...
4.5 years later.
Yeah, what happened? Was it something that, like, all of a sudden someone called you guys and said...
I made friends with a director.
Oh, there we go.
Whose name is Paco Cabezas, who I love, and I think is really a talented guy. He directed one movie that is the movie that... He has some other movies, but the one you should really look at is Neon Flesh, is the one that really shows what he can do. And then we were like, hey, Sam Rockwell, do you want to be in this movie? And he went, yeah. And then we were like, what? Really? And he was like, yeah. And then they were like, hey, Anna Kendrick, do you want to be in this movie? And she was like, yes, I've been waiting for a character like this. In like that Batman voice.
Yeah, listen, I love her. She's awesome. I'm assuming you've seen The Voices? Or have you not?
The Ryan Reynolds The Voices?
Yes.
Great script.
You didn't like the movie?
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, okay. I was going to say you should see it. She's great in that too.
She's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it is kind of cool that she stars in my movie, and then my movie comes out later this year, and now she's the #1 comedy. Pitch Perfect 2 is like huge, so it's cool. It's cool, dude. It's cool. I feel happy of myself.
I completely understand. What have you gone in, and what are you allowed to talk about in terms of you've gone in and pitched or come close to writing?
Oh, I've gotten huge jobs that I'm not allowed to tell you about. This is how fucked the movie industry is. I got a job that was literally my dream job, did an amazing job on it, and when I say amazing, it's like up my own ass, right? Like, oh, what a prick, he thinks he's so awesome. No, it's one of my better scripts, and everybody in my team loved it, and we went all the way through it, but here's the film industry, one person didn't like it, they weren't even at the studio, they were one of the rights holders, it disappeared, they had someone write a new script. I did 5 drafts on my dream job.
That sucks.
Oh, but I've done that 2 or 3 times. I mean, like, being a screenwriter is not for sensitive people. And I'm such a, like a wimp. If you want to be a screenwriter, get ready, bud. You're going to do a lot of work for free in the first 5 years of your career. Then when you get the jobs, the movies probably aren't going to get made. You'll sell something incredible with a perfect attachment. But then time will pass and it'll lose steam and it won't get made. For every movie that I have coming out, there are two or more things that I did a tremendous amount of work on for free or very little money, or in some cases, a lot of money. Like, they spend money on these things and they just toss it away because they have so much money to spend.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy. It's the most wasteful system. They're doing a thing now to screenwriters where they'll hire 3 guys for the same job
And see which one they like the most.
and have them write competing scripts.
Yep, I've heard about this. Yes.
I mean, what's the dream? What are they doing to the dream?
Well, I think what's happening is...
That was a weird voice there, sorry.
It's all right. I think I heard some stories about a certain superhero movie that was made at a studio where they had 2 different scripts, and the executive, while they were filming, was pulling from each script and saying, do page 30 here, 32 here, that kind of stuff. Some crazy shit.
I got a marketing model explained to me recently, or a production model explained to me recently, where you shoot a version of the movie for a tiny bit of the budget with none of the big scenes, then crowd test it, unfinished. Let the crowd's notes determine what happens next in the movie.
No.
So just the death of what you're talking about is the populist death of art. In like a meaningful way. That sounds pretentious, but like, I mean, it's interesting, right? And it's because of fear. It's a culture, we were talking about movie stars earlier in this interview. It's a culture promulgated on fear. Even Sundance loves having movie stars.
Listen, I've had this argument with people.
Tribeca too, and all of them.
Here's the thing. All the film festivals require, that's why movies that have movie stars that are asking to premiere at a film festival almost always will get in because they need famous people walking the red carpet to promote all the movies. And so half the slots have to go to...
Do you like Benson and Moorhead?
No.
Spring?
I'm not as familiar.
Benson and Moorhead are a writer-director team, cinematographer team that I really love and I think are really talented. No movie stars in their fucking movies and they kill. Do you see Blue Ruin?
Yes.
Boom. Great example, because the only way to be good now is to be the best.
Well, but... Yes.
That's what's fucked about being me. I don't know if I'm the best, but I sure am writing a lot of scripts. Right. You know, like...
The industry is really fucked up, but it's also, and I'm sure you realize this, what I call the talking drama is now, like there used to be the $30 to $60 million talking drama.
Oh, dead.
Done. It is completely over, unless, and even if you have all the movie stars on the planet, unless it has some sort of hook. Exactly.
Jinx.
Yeah, unless it has something that will get people there. You know, if it's just talking, forget it. It needs to be made for $5 million or under, and it's going to premiere at Sundance, and that's it.
Yeah.
You know, it's.
I snuck a sword fight into my $5 million talking drama in a gay pride parade. And I broke my own leg. There's a dragon in it, but the dragon looks like it was made for about $75. Do you remember in his dream?
No comment.
When he's right, yeah, it's like a big dumb Muppet. I describe it in the script as a dumb-looking Muppet dragon, and they gave me it. I was like, maybe too dumb-looking.
I don't want to reveal it, but I will say that people that enjoyed that Muppet would want to stay to the end of the credits.
Yes, I would agree.
Yes, I don't want to say anything more than that.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in the credits. There's like the credits, the movie refuses to end.
Just stay to the end of the credits. I'll just say it like that. So I'm going to wrap with you because obviously this has gone on for 6 years and we now...
This was fun. I know I'm going to look at the YouTube comments. I fucking hate this guy. Well, you know what? I like you. I like you and thank you for watching. And if you're a writer or director, good luck because it's super hard.
I was actually going to ask you one more question.
Yeah, sure.
What are you writing right now? What are you working on that you can tease people?
Okay. I just sold a TV show.
That's what I was actually
that I'm not allowed to talk about, but the PR announcement comes out like 2 days after this interview goes up, but I'm playing my hedges. It's the first TV show I'm an exec on, and I found that I can't say anything. I'm a producer, but it's cool. And then I'm in the process of selling another TV show, which I'm not allowed to talk about, and then I have a script that I just finished that I'm extremely proud of that is not for me to direct, and then I have one that is for me to direct, and then I'm writing another one that's for someone a lot smarter, like someone like, God, I don't know who can make this movie, it's so mindfucky and huge. And then I'm writing that, and then I'm also writing this other script about a guy who's stalking a girl, and he's this creepy guy, he's a creepy loser, he's stalking this girl, lives across the street from him, except he finds out she's been dead 5 years. And he's been stalking a ghost, and so he slowly goes from creepy loser to I'm going to solve her murder and find out what happened, which of course makes him, because he's going around all those places, the lead suspect in her cold case. And that it's fun, and it's one of my better straightforward thrillers. I'm writing this thing, the mindfucky thing is about a guy who goes back in time to try to fix a mistake in his relationship, except for there's another him there when he gets there, trying to fix the mistake he made by going back in time to fix the mistake he made before. And he's like, what are you doing here? He's like, there are already dozens of us. The second you decided to go back in time, the timelines are fucked. There are a bunch of other yous hunting you right now across your entire relationship. It's Eternal Sunshine is an action movie. Yeah, within a relationship, it's all about her, this girl Claire, who's like my favorite girl I've ever written, except for this thing I'm writing now, which is about it's about like a James Bond, but he's like in Breaking Bad world. So like it's like James Bond out in Arizona, like in Walmart land, and his job is to find people who do fringe science and stop them before they become like Bond villains. And the main female character of that is like this physicist girl, Walter White.
Are you writing these for spec, or are you writing these?
Oh, these are all spec. I can't tell you about any things I'm doing for studio. There are a couple of those too, but like those are secret.
No,
I'm hunting this really big property, and I don't think I'm gonna get it, but I want it because it would be crazy. Except for I know it'll break my heart, so it's like, why am I even doing this?
Because you hope that you'll get it.
Because I hope I'll get it, and then it'll all be perfect. You know, when you're a screenwriter, every day if you don't want to kill yourself, you have to either wake up and say one of two things: fuck it, or it'll all be perfect. And either way, you end up saying fuck it.
No, I completely get it. I so want to talk to you about the.
And then I have a comic,
Oh.
but I'm not allowed to say anything about that. And I'm consulting on a TV show that's on right now, but I'm not allowed to say anything about that.
The TV show that will be announced soon, is this an original idea?
Sort of.
Is it network or cable?
Cable.
I'm very excited to hear that.
Both of the TV shows I'm about to sell are cable. I sold one, and now I'm writing another.
Yeah, I'm going to leave it there and say we'll do a part 2 at some point. Thank you for giving me a tremendous amount of time.